Welcome back, everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown. Well, I think I expressed all my excitement last night in the game rundown. The Edmonton Oilers hitting that 10-game winning streak for the first time in franchise history. It was just amazing to get to watch Oilers history. I know it probably wasn't as momentous of a game as we probably would have wanted. I mean, it was a 1-1 tie going into overtime against the Montreal Canadiens, but hey, a 2-1 overtime victory is still pretty dramatic, and it was Connor McDavid's birthday, so nice to do it on his birthday. It was just a combination of everything that made it really exciting as an Edmonton Oilers fan, and I've wanted to see that 10-game winning streak for so long now, and it was so disappointing earlier in the year when we hit 8 and they lost that 9th game, but as they won the last 2, both in overtime here over Detroit and Montreal, it was just the excitement really built up, and to finally get to see that 10-game winning streak was just really satisfying and a great moment being an Oilers fan, getting to watch that history. So really happy with that. But with the 10-game winning streak aside, got to get back to business here. And there's a few things I wanted to go over in today's video. I want to talk about Evander Kane, the bottom 6, and ultimately some players that I would bring in at the trade deadline to help put this team over the top. Let's get started. Let's start with Evander Kane. We know he's playing injured with a lingering groin injury, and I'm sure his wrist injury from last season still isn't 100%. But he clearly feels well enough to play. He's just not playing as much as he's used to, and frustration is clearly setting in. Right now, there's no breaking up the dominant number 1 line of Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman, so if Kane wants to get in the top 6, he needs to find his way onto Draisaitl's line. However, up until last night, Ryan McLeod and Warren Foegele have pushed him out of the way. With McLeod's illness last night, Kane got his chance and picked up an assist on Leon's game-tying goal in the 3rd. But clearly, more is expected and needed if Kane is going to find his way back into the top 6 on a regular basis. And the top 6 is where Kane needs to be effective. This team simply can't afford to have a $5 million guy on the 3rd line. Now, and in the years to come, the money is simply too tight. Evander Kane was one of the few guys, along with Zach Hyman, producing early on, so he does deserve some leeway, and his injury status obviously deserves recognition as well. But facts are facts. Kane has to be better than Ryan McLeod or Warren Foegele. His contract dictates it, his ice time dictates it. Kane brings the attitude and skill set this team needs, but he needs to produce in that role. Especially come playoff time, Kane can be a major factor. I just hope he can get back to being that difference maker. The Oilers do have the All-Star break coming up in a few weeks. Maybe a bit of time off can help him come back rejuvenated. But as much as Kane needs to work his way back into the top 6, the Oilers need to figure out their bottom 6. We learned last night from Jason Gregor that despite early reports that Sam Gagner was ready to go, he's had some setbacks and isn't quite ready to go just yet, which led to Phil Kemp getting to make his NHL debut, playing just over 2 minutes in a forward role. Gagner should work his way back in before too long. He's just one piece, though. Dylan Holloway will be another piece added, possibly as early as next week. Corey Perry has been a focal point in the rumor mill as of late, and would be an excellent add. Sean Monahan would also be of great interest, despite his injury history. So how does the bottom 6 look? I don't think the Oilers will get Monahan and Perry. I think we're only looking at one outside addition. Let's say it's Perry for this look. So one possibility could be a 3rd line of Holloway, McLeod, and Perry, and a 4th line of Janmark, Ryan, and Gagner. Key departures from the bottom 6 would include Connor Brown, Adam Erne, and James Hamlin. But come playoff time, injuries become a major factor, and you can have all of these guys at your disposal with no salary cap, bringing them in as needed. This would assume your top 6 features Nuge, McDavid, and Hyman, Kane, Draisaitl, and Foegele. But we've heard reports that the Oilers would like to add a top 6 forward on the right side. I know some fans don't want to hear it, but that might lead to the departure of Warren Foegele in order to make it happen. I know Chris Knoblauch doesn't like to change things too much, and I like that about him. But we're getting to the point that the bottom 6 does need a shakeup. Players have their roles, but they have to find more production. Gagner, Hamlin, and Ryan had some great chemistry. I certainly wouldn't mind seeing that line reunited at some point. Janmark is a great penalty killer, but we aren't seeing much beyond that. Changes will need to happen, It will be interesting to see what the coaching staff and management comes up with. I would focus on an outside addition to the bottom six, a number 4 defenseman, and a tandem goaltender to play with Stuart Skinner. If I had to choose today, I'd go with Corey Perry, strengthening the right side up front, Sean Walker, strengthening the right side on D, and Kaapo Kähkönen. His numbers have dropped in San Jose, but in Minnesota, he was consistently above a .900 save percentage. At 50% retained, I see him as a tandem option to play with Skinner, and he's got an expiring contract. This historic 10-game winning streak has helped put the Oilers back in the conversation. Now it's time to make the changes that will put them over the top. Well, those are my thoughts for today, guys. Let me know your thoughts on Evander Kane, Corey Perry. What additions would you make before the trade deadline? Let me know in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.